Today, Avril's group is supposed to be presenting. Are all the students here on in Avril's group here? Are you guys all here?
Sir, good evening again.
Good evening.
I must apologize for my team members who are still having difficulties based on where they are living back home. And so only myself and Molly currently is online.
Who are the other students in your class?
We have Sonia Whitmore, we have Dane Charles, and we have Doreen Williams.
Dane Charles. There's a Dane Charles in this class?
Yes, sir. She's from St. Lucia.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, wow. Has anyone tried to reach her?
I have tried earlier today, but where she's at in St. Lucia, she's having some challenges where network is concerned. I'm not sure if she will be able to join us this evening, but if she joins, I will definitely welcome so
Okay,
that we
sure.
can go ahead in terms of doing our presentation. But I think it's best, we just go through. Myself and Marlene is here. And I don't know
Who you
what
said
you
again?
prefer.
Monique, Dane, and what's the other student?
Um, we have Dane Charles, Sonia Whitmore, and Doreen Williams.
Doreen.
But
Who's
my
Doreen? Okay, why
yes,
do I have Monique
we have Doreen Williams, Sonia,
and
and
Dane Charles?
Dane. However, myself and Marlene Richards is on.
Okay. All right. We'll just hear the presentations from both of you. And did those other three students help with the research, with the content?
All of us should have done our best where it is concerned. Everyone played their part, sir.
Okay, great, great, great. All right, that's fine. So you guys are going to be presenting on what's the country you guys are going Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. Well, you guys have the floor. You guys have the floor. Um, who is gonna go first?
I'm gonna start. You're gonna give me host so that I can share.
You know what? I think it's already enabled. You can. I think anybody once you are a student, you can on this platform, you should be able to share.
Okay.
All right, great. So you guys are about to are about to begin.
Yes, we're about
All
to begin.
right. So we have a presentation, group presentation, looking or exploring, looking at the island of Trinidad and Tobago, the islands of Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. So the presenters, Avril and Marlene, you guys can take it away.
So this evening, good evening, everyone. So this evening, myself and Maureen is online, and so we'll be presenting on behalf of our team member. And so our group members are Dane Charles, Doreen Williams, myself, Avril Morgan Avis, Marlene Richards, and Sonia Whitmore. And so, give me a minute, please. Let me get this out of the way. Oh my God. Good evening, colleagues. Welcome to this presentation on the vibrant islands of Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. Tonight, we will embark on an insightful journey through the geography, history, religion, politics, and key notable figures of these two captivating Caribbean nations. Join us as we uncover the essence of Trinidad and Barbados, gaining a deeper appreciation for the unique attributes that make these islands truly remarkable. Let us begin. So, as you can see, our table of content, brief history will be done by myself, as also the culture, geography, and presentation. Reality should have been done by Sonia Whitmore, who is not here. Politics, Doreen Williams. Key figures and culture, Marlene Richards, and religion and ethnicity should have been doing by Dane Charles. And so I'll start out with the brief history of Trinidad and Tobago. Christopher Columbus made the discovery of Trinidad during his third visit in 1498 to the Western Hemisphere. Trinidad was controlled by the Spanish in the 15th centuries, and in contrast, Tobago was under the control of numerous European nations to include the Spanish, Dutch, French, and British at various points in time in 1814. In 1888, Trinidad and Tobago were merged to form a single colony. Why is this? I continue. Then in 1958, I apologize, for some reason this thing keep on going in my way. All right, I'll continue. Then in 1958, the United Kingdom formed the Independent Federation of the West Indies, which included Barbados, Jamaica, Leeward and Windward Islands, and Trinidad and Tobago. After gaining independence from England in 1962, Trinidad and Tobago became I don't know. Avril, sir, I apologize. I have to pause. Avril, can you share this for me, please?
Sure.
I'm going to send it to you right away. I'm having some difficulties.
All right, no problem. Just send it right over. I'll do it right now.
Accepted, sir?
Sure, sure. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's perfect.
Okay.
In 1958,
I'm not seeing.
In 1958, the West Indies Federation included who? Barbados, Jamaica, Leeward, and Windward Islands, and Trinidad and Tobago. That was the West Indies Federation. Haiti, you notice who was not in the Federation? Haiti and Cuba. Yes. You notice that Haiti and Cuba is not in the Federation, in the West Indies Federation. No mention, and also you don't see Guyana there either. Are you guys ready?
Just a minute, sir.
Haven't received it yet.
So then in 1958, the United Kingdom formed an independent federation of the West Indies, which include Barbados, Jamaica, Leeward and Windward Islands, and Trinidad and Tobago. After gaining independence from England in 1962, Trinidad and Tobago became the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in 1976. You can go ahead, Avril. Barbados is a small island nation with a complex history that includes American, Indian colonies, British colonization, African slavery, enslavement, the expansion of the sugarcane economy, and eventual independence. The history, go back please. The history of Barbados dates back thousands of years to the arrival of its first settlers, the Amerindians. The Arawaks, a peaceful Amerindian group, settled on the island where they live in harmony with nature. And when we talk about nature here, we're talking about like the farmland. So, you know, they settled on that land where they do do their farming, etc. Can go ahead. I continue. In the mid 1200s, the Caribs, known for their advanced fighting techniques, invaded Barbados, swiftly overtaking the Arabs, either killing them or forcing them to flee to neighboring islands. In 1942, the Spanish claimed Barbados and defeated the Caribs, but later abandoned the island to focus on a larger Caribbean island. In 1625, the British ship Olive Blossom discovered Barbados and claimed it in the name King James I. And in 1627, settlers established Jamestown, now known as Whole Town, and divided Barbados among England's wealthy gentry. Barbados gained independence in 1966 with Errol Barrow as Prime Minister. Okay. Now I'll hand over to Marlene, who will do the geography of Trinidad and the geography of Barbados.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
All right, so the geography of Trinidad. Located in the southern Caribbean and just off the eastern coast of Venezuela. Pardon me, sir? The island lies approximately 10 longitude to 1 latitude. Rectangular in shape, measuring 60 kilometers, like 80 kilometers. Total area is 428 square kilometers. So the experiences as Kate
Wait,
outside
hold
the
up.
hurricane
Hold on.
not stop them from by hurricane.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you. You're breaking up.
Sir, I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to do the entire thing because Marlene is also experiencing some difficulties.
Okay. All right. Marlene, are you there?
Yes, sir. You're not hearing me?
You're
No, you
breaking
are.
up.
Yeah, a lot of static and so on. So I'm gonna ask
I'm going to log off and join again.
All
but
right, I'll continue.
I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're here now? All right. Located in the southern Caribbean and just off the eastern coast of Venezuela.
Okay. No. Oh. Sorry. Okay. Fine, April. I think you could take over the presentation because we still can't hear you. You're breaking up. We can hear you, but you're breaking up.
All right, sir.
Sorry about that.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
This section was done by Sonia.
Okay.
And as Marlene would have started, located in the southern Caribbean and just off the northeast coast of Venezuela. The island lies approximately 10 north latitude and 61 degrees longitude, rectangular in shape, measuring 60 kilometer by 80 kilometer. Total area is 4828 square kilometer, making it the 5th largest island. So Trinidad, the 5th largest island. It is also the southernmost island in the Caribbean. Trinidad experiences a tropical climate and is located outside the hurricane belt. This does not stop them from being hit by hurricanes from time to time. The major cities are Port of Spain capital, San Fernando, and the major towns are Arima, Port Fortin, and Chaguanas. Go ahead. Avril. Next slide, please. And so I continue. Its highest peak is El Cerro del Aripo, standing at 940 meters and located in the country's northern range. The southern range is full of gentle undulating hills, which are less prominent than in the north. It has two plains, the Caroni and the Naparo plains. The island has three major rivers, the Caroni and Tori and the Navet rivers. These flow from the highlands to the coast. Trinidad's diverse geography, from its mountain ranges to its fertile plains and beautiful coastlines, makes it a unique and vibrant part of the Caribbean region. Next slide, please. And so Barbados, now situated about 100 miles east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and triangular in shape, is the island of Barbados, measuring 20 miles from northwest to southeast and about 15 miles from east to west at its widest point, and divided into 11 parishes. The capital city is Bridgetown, which is located in the parish of St. Michael. Its coordinates are approximately 13 degrees north latitude and 59 degrees west longitude. The island is generally flat, with its highest point being Mount Hillaby, located in the Central Highland region, which rises 340 meters above sea level. Barbados is quite distinct from the other islands because it is primarily composed of coral limestones rather than volcano rocks. Most of the islands is surrounded by coral reefs, and there are no significant rivers or lakes, but they have a few streams, springs and ponds. The island, however, is renowned for its beaches, particularly along the western and southern coast. The coastline stretches for about 60 miles, featuring a mix of calm, clear waters on the west coast and more rugged shores on the east coast facing the Atlantic Ocean. Barbados gets most of its freshwater supplies from water that percolates through the limestone and emerges as underground springs. They also get water from desalination plants. Though it is within hurricane belt, it experiences fewer direct hits from hurricanes. And so now I'll look at the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago.
Avril,
Yes.
let me try again, please. Let me see if you'll hear me better.
All right, just
All
wait until your slide comes up. This slide was mine, so when your slide comes up, I'll give it to you. All right?
Okay. All right.
Yes, so I'll now look at the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is an English-speaking nation with close ties to the US and the United Kingdom. A significant legacy of the nation's historical membership in the British Empire is the English language's predominance and continuing popularity of cricket and football, the two main sports in the nation. The culture has been greatly influenced by America due to the popularity of Hollywood films and American television shows, as well as the country's sizable immigrant population.
Hold on a second. It's quite interesting. You were looking at the geography of Barbados. What came to my mind? I mean, I in my mind, I was just saying that, wow, Barbados is just one big beach.
Yes,
No,
sir.
Barbados is just a beach. It's made up.
Not.
It is okay. It is distinct from the other Caribbean islands. Yes. And what makes it distinct? Its geography is made up of what? Coral stones and limestones and so on, instead of The other Caribbean islands have a lot of volcanic rocks, which speaks to its formation. But a lot of reefs have, and a lot of reefs and beaches and the area of reefs and beaches have a lot of corals and so on. But if you notice what's going on, in Barbados, they have a lot of coral instead of volcanic rocks, which makes the island unique. And then I have to ask, and then of course, which makes us assume that it is a beach. It's just one big beach, and yes, it is. It's just a one big beach. You're always at the beach when you're in Barbados. There's a saying. Okay.
Okay.
And you also made another important point earlier before this slide. What slide? The slide before this one. What was it about again? Here we go. I think we didn't talk. I didn't hone in or zero in on this particular concept or point or observation. The idea of the American or Hollywood or American film. I mentioned it in passing several times, but as we talk about cultural identity and Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X, and how people are changing in societies, and I'm talking about the dominance of culture or the location of culture, but the influence of American TV, people and lot watch American film, and how does that imposes on the local culture? How does that affect behaviors, and how cultures are changing, norms and values are changing in societies that are exposed to stimuli or which also forms part of one's socialization, one's education, one's awareness, and so on and so forth. Because you become desensitized the more you expose you are to a particular thing. Desensitization. So, and it's not just Trinidad, because and I don't think anybody mentioned that in when we watched Life and Death, you saw them watching we watched the news, and then you were watching American, they were talking about Baskin and Robbins that came on the TV screen. But of course, yes, we talk about how Caribbean is changing, how life is changing. We talk about how exposure to foreign news, foreign ways, foreign film. In some cultures, like in China, and some cultures, they don't allow certain films and so on there. But it's quite interesting how you just mentioned the fact that Trinidad and Tobago, how they're exposed to a lot of Hollywood film, which is affecting their culture. But anyways, continue. And then I would ask you, how is it affecting the culture? What in your reading did you read anywhere where it talks about how the film are changing the culture or affecting the culture? Of course, they're going to talk in terms of what they dress, how they speak, rap music, American sports as well will be part of it. But I don't know if you. But anyways, go ahead, continue.
Okay, sir. Okay, and so when I further look at the culture, the Caribbean country is also known for the home of calypso music, steel pan, and other indigenous art forms like soca. And so I was very interested in this section of it, to know what was steel pan. Steel pan is really a musical instrument which was created as far back as 1930 in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's something that they used to knock and for make music. I also look at the parang, the chutney, the pikari, and the famous limbo dance. And what they say about the parang is a traditional folk music genre that originated in Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago, and this is normally associated when Christmas comes around. And so the word parang comes from a Spanish word paranda, meaning spree or fete. And so when you look at Trinidad and Tobago, they're always having soca music and the whole fete, Except when you look at we Jamaicans, we are more dancehall, So they started the whole soca thing. That's what I got in my reading. and the famous limbo dance. And the chutney, when I looked at the chutney, because it was the first I was seeing it, so that the reading was really interesting. The chutney, this is a type of music, has a slower tempo than calypso, and it carries an Indian rhythm, right? So that Indian move like. And so I found that this part of it, into the pickery, is an Indo-Trinidadian form of music, which originated in Trinidad and Tobago, and it is named after the long syringe-like tubes used to spray arbor during what you call Phagua celebrations. And Phagua is the Hindu festival of colors celebrating the arrival of spring. And so they use the type of music and dance at different time in the year, you know. There was another interest.
Let me ask you a question. This you talk about parang music, which is a popular folk music style. But notice you said that you glossed over it, but this is important, you know, when you want to understand, when you talk about what is the Caribbean, and when you start to look at various Caribbean islands, you talk about parang. Yes. When you look at the word parang, and that tells you a lot about Trinidad, the people of the Caribbean, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and how closely connected the people are, not just in the Caribbean, but within the Americas. And I've said to you that people were actively traveling all along the Americas. The people in the Americas were always actively engaging with each other, because look at this. Parang it's a popular music form that is from where? Where is it from?
Parang is
Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. Now, first of all, in Venezuela they speak Spanish.
Right.
Yes. In Trinidad and Tobago, they speak mainly English, and of course mainly English in Trinidad and Tobago. But of course they have a Spanish influence, because the Spanish was there at some point. But by the 1600s, the Spanish, the late 15 to 1600s, the British came and took over. But what is quite interesting, that they still have that culture, that parang culture is still part of Trinidad. But guess what? Parang is not only in Trinidad, it's also in Venezuela. But first of all, Venezuela and Trinidad? First of all, how is it that parang is all the way in Venezuela, in Trinidad and Tobago? We don't know Trinidad to be a Spanish colony or a Spanish nation or have anything to do with Spain. We know they have Indian people there. We know they have the African heritage, people from India. But guess what? We talk about the Amerindian or the Carib people or the Tainos. They were already, the Taino people were living there. Notice parang music it includes the Spanish people's spiritual aspirations and the joyfulness of American Indian, and African cultures. And that is why I say to you, first of all, I do not believe that all of the Amerindians were wiped out in the Caribbean, because when you see that a lot of their cultures continue to exist today, but also there's a lot of and African sailors came before Christopher Columbus. It's quite interesting. Yeah. This is interesting when you start to study the history of the Caribbean, not Jamaica, Trinidad, and how all the Caribbean, and not just the Caribbean and the Americas are connected, not just only to Africa, but to the original people, the American Indians. Even as far as Amerindians were in the north, the U.S., in the North America, but also throughout the Caribbean, Central America, they would move whenever the winds change, whenever the seasons change, because their living was dependent on the season. So it's quite interesting. So you bringing this up is quite powerful. And not only that, the fact that you never had it in your thing here, but you mentioned it, saying that means you did some reading. That's good. Parang was not only, and I'm happy that you said that, Parang is not only associated with Trinidad and Tobago, it's also associated with Venezuela, which involves a lot of, and it incorporates aspects of indigenous and South American cultures. Indigenous and South American cultures and Spanish African cultures. It speaks about, but then it speaks about our identity as not just being from African, but also Amerindian. There's that connection. Anyway, continue. Sorry for cutting you. This is interesting, and I'm happy you mentioned it. You mentioned this. Go ahead, continue.
Thank you, sir. And and the final one, which was the limbo dance, this was really interesting also. I would have heard during the reading, I realized that the limbo is a game which aims to pass forward under a lower bar without falling. And it's normally done at weights, dead yard, we call it back home in Jamaica, in the triumph of life over death. So everything is, their culture is just so different. Calypso, a blend of African and French influence, became the voice of the people and challenged the government actions. The diverse cultural and religious background allows for various festivities and ceremonies throughout the year. Their cuisine is a blend of Creole, Indian, and Chinese influence, as well as blends of Amerindian, European, African, Creole, I said Creole already, Chinese, Indian, and Lebanese taste. And so Marlene will now look at the culture of Barbados.
All right. So, yeah.
Breaking up again, Marlene. You're breaking up badly now.
Here.
It's worse
than you really want to present. I know you really want to present what you did, but we are having really a difficult time hearing you. We are seeing you well, but something is affecting your audio. So I don't know if you want. We're gonna ask Avril Morgan to continue with the presentation. I'm sure if you have any points, go ahead.
Try turning off her camera and just see.
Oh yes, turn off. But who said that? Kemori, I could tell you work in IT. You work in IT, Kemori. Yes, Marlene, you can turn your camera off. Kemori, you work in IT? How you know that?
No, sir, I don't. But normally, when your bandwidth is low, your camera is unaffected. So when you turn it off, you have more stability.
Okay, Kemori, you work in IT because you start talking about when your bandwidth is low and stuff. You are speaking how you're talking. You're using technical language here. You work in IT. Okay, I'm just kidding. But very good. I mean, I like your technical know-how. But let's see if Marlene. Let's see how it's working now. Let's see if your work. Let's see what happens now, Marlene.
All right. So you're hearing me now, sir?
Oh yes. Oh
Still
my
not
God.
hearing me?
I'm hearing you clearly.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kemori. All right. So the culture of Barbados. Okay. Barbados culture is a blend of West African and British culture. English is the official language of the nation, reflecting centuries of British influence. But the Bajan dialect in which it is spoken is an iconic part of the Barbadian culture. The Bajan culture is vibrant. It consists of Barbados music, food, and their earthenware crafts, all from parts of the colorful modern culture of the island. Can you skip to the next page for me, please? All right, let me. All right, thank you. Let me continue. So, politics of Trinidad and Tobago. There are several parties in the parliamentary democracy of Trinidad and Tobago. Two major political parties have dominated the political landscape. They are the United National Congress, UNC, and the People's National Movement, PNM. In August 2020, under the leadership of Prime Minister Dr. Keir Rowley, the People's National Movement secured a majority of seats in the House of Representatives. The United National Congress, headed by Kamala, who won 19 seats, while the PMN won 22 seats. As a result, the PMN was able to maintain its position of national leadership. All right, continuing. Barbados uses a representative democracy system with 30 constituencies where residents vote for their representatives. The party winning the most seats in the House of Assemblies forms the government, and its leaders becomes prime ministers with majority legislative support. The prime minister then appoints cabinet members. Second point, in May 2018, the Barbados Labour Party won all 30 constituencies, replacing the Democratic Labour Party. Mia Montley was sworn in as Barbados' seventh prime minister and its first female leader on May 25th, 2018. All right, so continuing, key figures for Trinidad and Tobago. The first key figures that was looked on is Sir Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson. He is the third president and the prime minister of the island. He was prime minister from 1986 to 1991 and
If you have a name
president
like
from
that, you have
1990.
to be. I'm sorry
Sir?
for cutting. Go ahead. I apologize. I was saying if you have a name like that, you have to be something major. You have to be some
Right.
like Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson. What a long name. Anyway, so the third president and third prime minister of the island. But by the way, just so you know, by the way, Barbados recently got rid of the monarchy, so they no longer they're no longer part of the Commonwealth, I believe, or they're no longer identified the Queen as their head of state. But I believe that they still kept the Caribbean Court of Justice, or sorry, no, not Caribbean. I think I'm not sure if they also replaced the Supreme Court as well, because just because I'm learning that just because you get rid of the Queen or the King doesn't necessarily mean that you have your own Supreme Court in your country, because I understand that that was part of the bone of contention in Jamaica, because according to the opposition, they were saying that no, they're not going to sign or agree to the new constitution if that does not involve replacing the Supreme Court from in Britain as the highest court. So that was part of the conversation. But as we know now, is that Barbados? Oh, sorry, you're talking about Trinidad and Tobago. But Trinidad and Tobago has also gotten rid of the Queen, and Barbados. But Jamaica is still playing around with it. But continue with your presentation. I apologize.
Okay, sir. Thank you. All right. So he was prime minister from 1986 to 1991 and president from 1976 to 2003. He was the first active politician to be elected. He is best known for proposing the International Criminal Court, which was established in 1997. He was awarded the Trinity Cross, the highest order of the Twin Islands. In 2011, the airport in Trinidad and Tobago was named after him, which is called the Robinson International Airport. Additionally, Sir Ellis Emmanuel Innocent Clark was born on December 28, 1970, he was the second and last Governor General of Trinidad and Tobago. He was one of the principal architects of the 1962 Constitution for the independence of the island. All right, so key figures for Barbados now. So Sir Grantley Hibbert Adams was born on April 28th, 1896 is a prominent politician. He is the island's first integral pioneer or premier for the 1958 he is the island's first integral premier from 1958 to 1950.
From 1953 to 1958.
Avril, is there any way you can?
From 1953
Thank you. Avril, is there any way you
to
can make this a little bit bigger, please? I heard you, Avril. I'm asking if it could be made a little bit bigger.
It's very large. You're looking at it from your phone?
It's large.
No, from my laptop.
Really? I think maybe it's a setting on your laptop because it's as big as the laptop screen.
All right, let me go again because it looks small on my side. But anyways, all right. So Grantley Hibbert Adams was born on April 28, 1898. Is a prominent politician. He was the island's first integral premier from 1953 to 1958. Also became the first and only Prime Minister of the West Indies Federation from 1958 to 19 of Barbados, and in 1998 he was named one of the national heroes of Barbados.
Marlene, are you still there?
Oh, hold on, I got kicked off. I'm just back. All right, waiting on the screen. All right. So it is also important to note the island's airport is named after him. Harold was born on January 21st, 1920, was known as the father of independence. He was a social advocate, activist, and political leader. He was the first minister of Ireland and played a main role in the island movement.
All right.
Continue, Avril.
No, I'll do this section and then you can do the ethnicity.
All right.
And so this is Dane's section. So she looks at the religious denominations in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago has a very diverse religious history. According to the 2011 estimates, the major religions and their respective proportions in the population are as follows. So you have the Protestant Christianity, 32.1%. The Pentecostal Evangelical Full Gospel, 12%. And so she take a closer look. These groups emphasize a personal relationship with faith, often with lively worship and believe in the gifts of the Holy Spirit. So they are more charismatic type of style they use with the Pentecostal and the Evangelical Full Gospel. Then she look at the Baptist, which is 6.9%. This includes mainstream Baptist churches and the unique spiritual shooter Baptist tradition, which mixes African spiritual practices with Christianity. The Anglican, 5.7%. The Anglican Church in Trinidad and Tobago follows the traditions of the Church of England. And then she look at the Seventh-day Adventists, which is 4.1%. So when you look at the percentages here, the Pentecostal, evangelical, and full gospel lead the way, you know. And the Seventh-day Adventists known for observing the Sabbath, on Saturday focusing on healthy living and studying end-time prophecies. Very interesting. They observe the Sabbath, focusing on healthy living, which is now important in our lives today. And then the Presbyterian, the Congregational, 2.5%. These groups focus on Reformed theology and have a long history in Trinidad and Tobago. Other Protestant, 0.9%, includes various smaller Protestant denominations. You can change for me, please? When you look at the Roman...
I was ordained by I'm an ordained minister in the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, of which, of course, you know, United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands includes the Presbyterians, and as you just mentioned, the Presbyterians. So, and I pastored the Presbyterian Church. I pastored the Andrews Memorial United Church, and I also the West Bay United Church in Cayman Islands. So, it's quite interesting that they're talking about Presbyterian, which is good.
So you make up a 2.5% if you were in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Go ahead, continue.
Roman Catholic, 21.6%. And the Roman Catholic Church is one of the largest Christian groups in Trinidad and Tobago, Sorry about my bad information earlier. With when I was talking about the Pentecostal and evangelical full gospel. Anyways, the Roman Catholic Church is one of the largest Christian groups in Trinidad and Tobago with traditions and many community activities. Hindu, 18.2%. Hinduism is mostly practiced by descendants of Indian indentured laborers who came to Trinidad in the 19th and early 20th centuries. It includes traditions like Vaishnavism, Shaivism, and Shaktism. I know sir can correct me on that. Shaktism. And so the Muslim, 5%. Islam in Trinidad and Tobago is a minority religion practiced by descendants and Indians indentured laborers. It includes both Sunni and Shia traditions. Jehovah's Witness, 1.5%. Jehovah's Witness follow a unique form of Christianity known for their door-to-door preaching and their rejection of the Trinity. And we have a lot of Jehovah's Witness in Jamaica, so they would walk from door to door, you know, teaching you and, you know, just want to tell you about, you know, how they worship. And other religion, 8.4%. This includes a variety of smaller religions, such groups such as Baha'i, Judaism, Buddhism, and other indigenous and mixed beliefs. The religious denominations in Barbados. The religious landscape of Barbados was influenced by the first permanent English settlers in 1627, who were predominantly Anglican and built the initial places of worship on the island. Anglican is the official national religion of Barbados. Majority of the population is Anglican. The first permanent English settlers on the island, mostly Anglicans, arrived in 1627 and constructed the first houses of worship. Their arrival laid the groundwork for the island's Christian traditions, which have shaped Barbados' religious landscape over the next several centuries. Other significant Christian denominations include Pentecostal, Adventist, Methodist, Roman Catholic, Wesleyan, Nazarene, Church of God, Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Moravian, Salvation Army, Mormon, and brethren. Non-Christian religions are the Rastafarian, Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, and Baha'i, as I would have mentioned earlier, right? And, you know, she got this information from Religion in Barbados, Totally Barbados. Marlene?
Okay.
This was
So
also done by Dane.
Thank you. Ethnicity, Trinidad and Tobago. Arawakian speaking individuals from the Orinoco River Delta were the first people to live in Trinidad, whereas Caribbean speaking Indians lived on the north coast in Trinidad. Presently, the Arima Santa Rosa Caribs maintain a partial heritage from these original inhabitants and strives to preserve their cultural identity. The two main ethnic groups are Indo-Trinidadians who came after abolition in the middle of the 19th century, and descendants of Africans who were forced into slavery in the late 18th century to work on plantations. Can you go to the next page for me, Avril, please? Thanks. All right, so along with these lesser groups of Europeans, Africans, East and Southeast Asians, and Middle Eastern backgrounds is a sizable third group, people of mixed ethnicity. And so you have a map here to show of Trinidad and Tobago ethnic. All right, so you have in the orange, which is 37.8% East Indians, and then you have in the green 36.5, which are Africans, and then you have in the purple, which are mixed East Indians and Africans, and then you have in the pink right here 16.2%, which are for mixed and others, and then you have a little piece of green, which is 0.6% for the white, indigenous, and the others. That is of the mixed ethnicity. So the people that are of mixed ethnicity, those represent this 0.6%. All right, so for Barbados ethnicity now, approximately 92.4% of Barbados population is of African heritage. The reason for the high concentration of Africans is because Barbados was a major destination for slave trade prior to the abolition of slavery in 1833. Additionally, 2.7% of the population are white people, sometimes referred to as white Bajans or Eurobasians, who are mostly from the UK and Ireland. A 1.3% of people are Asian, including East and Southeast Asians, and the island's rich ethnic mix is further enhanced by smaller communities like Lebanese, Syrian, and Jews.
And so I will look
All
at the
right.
present
So
reality.
for
This was done by Sarnia. Economic challenges. The country has a heavy reliance on oil and natural gas exports, which is facing challenges due to a decline in prices. This has led to a high unemployment rate and major budget deficits. Crime and violence, crime rate, especially homicide, has quadrupled over the last decade in Trinidad. The country has struggled with issues relating to gang violence, drug trafficking, etc. In as recent as 2022, many Trinidadians have thought to join the Islamic State militant group. Corruption. This has been a long-standing issue in the Twin Island Republic. It affects areas such as law enforcement, politics, with high-ranking officials playing a major role, and public service such as immigration officers. Over the years, this has been a sore point as the country tries to address the issues by promoting transparency and accountability with implemented anti-corruption legislations. Law. The Privy Council declared that the death penalty for convicted murderers was constitutional and only Parliament can amend the law. Social issues. Racial disparities within the Trinidadians, Indo-Trinidadians, a mixture of Indian and Trinidadians, being the dominant ethnicity, women continue to face discrimination in relation to employment and wages. In 2018, the High Court ruled it's unconstitutional to discriminate against same-sex relations. Economy. Post-COVID-19 initiatives have been put in place to diversify the economy beyond tourism and financial services, including renewable energy projects. The income per capita is also relatively high. Health and welfare. The citizens receive health care from both private and public agencies. Crime and violence. The country is free from war. However, gang violence and homicide have increased since 2022. Law. The death penalty was repealed in 2019 because their highest court deemed it unconstitutional in 2018. You look at social issues. Though women makes up half the workforce, they earn less than men for the same work. Such a sad situation. People from the LGBT community face great discrimination, especially in housing, healthcare, and employment. Violence perpetrated against women is also widespread. There goes the end of our presentation. We want to really thank you for listening. Though we face some challenges, I just want to say all of our team members did give up their best and would really love to be on tonight. But as you know, the Hurricane Beryl would have just passed and that caused them not to be on. Thank you.
Thank you, Avril, for sharing. It's greatly appreciated.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much,
Presenting. Thank you, guys. Very good. Very good presentation. I'm happy, but I like, all the presentations have something that I particularly enjoy and appreciate. Your presentation, your group presentation, I particularly find it quite interesting. And well, all the presentations, I found them to be very interesting. What was unique about your presentation, I am happy that you included the issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know what was happening in Trinidad and Tobago in 2018, but they seem to be adopting a liberal kind of a cultural lifestyle or value. There have been quite a lot of significant changes, in Trinidad. We talk about liberal policies. One, they passed a law that protects same-sex unions, which is quite interesting. That's Trinidad. What about Barbados? What about Jamaica and the other Caribbean islands? In terms of what is the attitude, or what are the attitudes towards certain groups, certain populations, certain people who are adopting particular lifestyle that's considered not un-Jamaican or not Jamaican. But how does that speak to the whole issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Or are we interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion? It's quite interesting that you would include that because, but anyways, they seem to be advancing a kind of liberal or some policies of inclusion that anyways, same-sex unions Two, they're still dealing with the issue of the issue of discrimination in terms of wages for women and men in terms of gender bias, the gender bias in terms of pay for women and men. That's still an issue throughout the Caribbean, because we are masculine. We still have employ that masculine kind of a posture in the Caribbean. And but it's quite interesting. You talk about they got rid of. So I know that they are still trying to have they're still having conversations in terms of trying to promote equal pay, but they weren't able. I see that they haven't been able. The presentation didn't talk about. Fine, yes, we talk about there's a gender gap in terms of pay, but what is Trinidad doing or has done to balance the gap or to close the gap between male and females in terms of pay or wages? However, we know that they have passed a law that protects same-sex union. 1, 2, they have gotten rid of the capital punishment, and I think I heard you say that. And did you also talk about the issue of abortion? Did you also talk about abortion as well? They passed a law. No, I know you didn't mention anything about abortion. I don't think so, but it's quite good that you would mention that. But what pertains in the other Caribbean islands?
No, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Abel. Fabian, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir. Normally I don't comment when I do finish, but saying as it is their time to shine on their stage. But you asked a question about what happened to the other Caribbean countries as they highlighted the issue of same-sex union. But I remember, and while you were talking, I went and looked it up. That and it's telling me here that it's December 2022. Cuba and Barbados, couple months apart from each other, scrapped their law on banning same-sex union or same-sex engagement, and they have become, even Cuba have become more liberal where that is concerned. So I knew Cuba went before, and then just a little bit after Barbados became a republic, they scrapped that law also. And I'm seeing it here on the BBC website that December.
Cuba, Barbados, and Trinidad. No, you're telling me Barbados as well. And Cuba, wow. And we know Cuba, the dominant religion is Roman Catholicism. Trinidad, predominantly Protestant. Barbados, same thing, but it's quite interesting. Jamaica as well. But Jamaica has not done so as yet.
Because it's still a sensitive issue here. So even though we are more liberal in thought and more tolerant, because you can, one time growing up in Jamaica, you could not see persons walking together. Or even if you think to be, you are beaten on the road. But today people see people and pass them like it's nothing. But whenever it comes to touch the law, I mean, Jamaican become riled up about that. So it's still kind of sensitive. And no politician want to touch it and become unpopular and stuff like that. So they try and
that's part of the that's part of the problem too. And that's so Jamaica still has as it relates with other Caribbean islands. Some Caribbean islands still have a long way to go in terms of beginning to have the discussions about some of these very difficult topics, heavy topics. Many of them have been inherited. When you listen to the presentation last week, he did allude to cultures changing and exposure to culture. But the question is, what is culture, though? And I said to you, culture is good, but culture can be dangerous. Frantz Fanon did not advocate for Black privilege. What he believes that both the Black men and the white men are trapped. That's why he said the Negro is not any more than the white man. Both the Negro and the white men are both trapped. The Negro is trapped in his own culture, the white man is trapped in his superiority and privilege. The black man is trapped in his inferiority. Okay. So it doesn't matter, we are all trapped. And so he talks about that. The culture, in a sense, takes away in one sense. You could argue that culture helps to alienate man from his individuality. So culture is important, but at the same time, it can be bad because there are those who are within a particular geography who may not display culture or group norms. How do you treat with those people? Do you treat them as how the colonizers treat them? Then if we do that, then we will be just as bad as our former colonial masters. As we talk about the legacy of colonialism. And that this is a discussion for us to have, and this is the class for it. So this is something for us this is a constant. So when this class ends, the conversations and the discussions that we are having continues beyond this class. Okay, it continues beyond this class. So I hope that you guys will continue to have the discussion beyond this class. Some of the discussions we have not been able to touch because of various reasons. But this class is a 200 level course. But when you get to the 400 level, then you start to even take on Caribbean thought at the 400 level, because this is a 200 level course. But Caribbean thought at the 400 level even goes deeper and provides more greater analysis and conversation and so on. So and it'd be great to have the discussion. The gentleman last week, as I thought about it throughout the week, his presentation, I said, I appreciate his presentation. I appreciate the perspective that he provides. And what I'm against privilege. I'm against people imposing and privileging their ideas and perspectives over others. I believe that we are supposed to have conversation and push things to their logical end, or push things toward to the valued action. But whatever the case is, I pray that we will continue to grow and develop as a people. Trinidad has oil, but it's not helping them. Guyana has oil. It's not helping them either, because they are having to pay huge sums of the cost of producing the oil is much higher than how much they are making. Is okay, how much they're paying out to produce it or to get the oil, to extract the oil and so on. It's costing them more money, especially the fact that they have the machinery and technology in order to extract the oil and so on. But whatever the case is, well, we hope that you guys will be part of the change, facilitate this exam. Also have a quiz that hopefully you guys get a chance to do the quiz and submit it. Oh, some of you want to know when the quiz, it would be great for you to complete the quiz ahead of the exam, so that I do it and probably talk to you guys about it before the exam. Maybe I'll send it to my email. Okay, I'm going to post it up also on JTS Online.